So the Jones family invited Pastor John for Sunday dinner. And after service, they all went to the Joneses' farm. And Ma went into the kitchen to get dinner going, and Pa went outside to do a few chores. And this left 9-year-old Johnny to entertain the preacher in the living room. And both sat in silence. Johnny, sitting with his head shyly bowed. Pastor John broke the silence. "Nice day, isn't it, Johnny?" "Yup," Johnny replied with his head still bowed. "Well, what are we having for dinner, Johnny?" the pastor questioned. "You wouldn't believe me if I was to tell you, Pastor," Johnny responded. "Sure I would," assured the pastor. "What are we having?" "Buzzard." "Buzzard? Are you sure, Johnny?" "Yep. I heard Ma talking on the phone to Miss Smith this morning, and she said, 'Guess it's about time we had that old buzzard for dinner.'" Well, there you go. So today we are continuing with our season for peace and nonviolence, and I just want to focus today on service. Whether you have somebody over for dinner or whether you're out in the world, I just wanted to talk a little bit about that. Because I tell you what, boy, again, and I feel like I say this every Sunday, it can be very compelling what's going on in our world. And I know I can be in that place of what's really mine to do. And so I think that is something that many of us are looking at, especially, things that have been going on for a long, long time seem to be highlighted, poverty, homelessness, just wars in our world, just whatever, climate change. So here we are, and, we're all good people. And it seems like good people, especially these days, are saying, what should I do? I should do something. Yeah, I see you shaking your head. And many of us are maybe even starting to call ourselves activists. Maybe your inner Norma Ray is starting to come out. That's what I say mine is, I know, a little bit here. So maybe you're doing some things. Maybe you're, calling your representatives or writing letters or, marching or whatever is yours to do, praying, holding high watch. So given this perceived need, really, what is ours to do? What actions do we take? Where do we direct our energy right now? And I just wanted to bring attention to first things first. We don't do anything. First things first, because I think the first thing that we get to do is check in with what's motivating us. What's motivating us to take action right now? And I was inspired by a quote from Jesus, John 7:24, when he's quoted as saying, "Do not judge by appearances, but judge with right judgment." And what does that really mean to us right now? So in unity, we translate that to, and you've probably heard this if you've been in unity for a while, we see it right versus setting it right. We see it right, so we judge by appearance, not by appearance, but with right judgment. Okay, so unity has really been criticized for not doing more spiritual social action. Because we've kind of said, okay, I just need to see it right. I just need to see it right. Well, there is some great validity to that teaching. Because it flows into what we know is that who we are being is the foundation of every action that we take. And so we get to turn within, and we get to see what's motivating us. What are we choosing from? Is it fear? Is it, oh my God? Is it should? Is it feeling like I'm obligated? I've been given so much, I really should give? It's just checking in with what's motivating us to act. Because the truth is that everything that we see right now happening in our world comes from consciousness. And so the opportunity that we have to look at what is motivating us, we are taking a look at our own consciousness. Where is our consciousness as we look out and ask, what is mine to do? Where are we coming from? Because, as we've heard, life is consciousness. Our life is a result of our consciousness, our experience of life. So if we've got a consciousness of abundance, we see through those lenses. We've got a consciousness knowing that we're divine love. I'm going to bet you've got love showing up in your life, you see. Martin Luther King, we heard the first part of everybody can be great because everyone can serve. We heard that in the Daily Word. And he also said, you only need a heart full of grace and a soul generated by love to serve. Yeah. Okay. So being is the foundation of all service. Who we're being and what our consciousness is. So I feel like that is the first step, is for us to check in with whatever service we are feeling like we're being called to do. Where am I coming from with that? Is it fear or love? Is it, oh gosh, this is so compelling. And really, folks, I get it. The outer world right now is very compelling. And so we can get drawn in to giving that our power versus our knowing. See, this call right now is for us to come from knowing of what is true, that we are loved no matter what. And the person that's sitting across from us, regardless of whatever, we might have differing opinions. They might be doing life much differently than we're doing life. It might feel like they have very different values than us. But the bottom line is, can we be in our knowing that this person is pure love at their nature? Okay, so to me, that's step one. We serve from our knowing. And then our knowing of oneness. And I really want to talk a little bit about oneness. Mother Teresa said, if we have no peace, it is because we have forgotten that we belong to each other. We belong to each other. Oneness is obviously not about two, it's about one. And it really, it pretty much goes beyond just our connection. Yes, we are inherently connected, but why are we inherently connected? See, if we take away our physical bodies, our beliefs, our colors, our degrees, our money, all the ways that we put up barriers to separate ourselves from each other, to judge others and ourselves, we would find that we are all made of the same stuff. Call it God stuff, infinite life, love, infinite creative energy, whatever works for you, to speak to the fact that we are divine and we're all made of that divine stuff. And again, sometimes I just try to, in my meditation time, if there's someone that I'm working with that maybe I have an opportunity, that I will see that person without their body. That's interesting. Because all of a sudden it becomes really clear it's not about anything, really, that I'm thinking it's about. Okay, so if we take that away, and then let's go deeper. Let's keep going deeper. So this building, all buildings, the planet, the natural world, everything, if we go deep enough, deep, 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 we're going to find what? That divine energy. We're going to find, if we go deep enough, we're going to find that infinite field of infinite possibility. We're going to find infinite love, folks. If we go deep, 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 deep. And so let's keep going. If we go deeper into the perceived issues of our world, okay, that feels so compelling and so, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? This feels so big. What I'm going to invite you to do is to go into your knowing and go deeper, 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 deeper. What is at the core of every issue? It's still the same divine energy, folks. It's still that. Nothing has changed. That's what Jesus called the kingdom of God. The Spirit of God is upon us. The kingdom of God is right here, right now. Nothing can change that. And I think that's we can forget that because it feels so compelling and so big right now. Okay? So what if we could serve from this knowing? Serve, take action from what we know is true. That every single person, regardless of how they voted, regardless of how they think about climate change or whatever, they are love. Period. At their nature, at their core. And that every issue that we see has as its core divine energy. And folks, it's just how are we allowing that energy to flow? How are we directing that energy? You see? And that's why in Unity we call things and we think, oh, you Unity people, you're so fluffy. Because we say it's an appearance. It's an appearance. And I want to explain. This is why we call things an appearance, not the capital T truth. Because what the Fillmore's taught is at the core of everything is essence, divine essence, at the core of everything, regardless of how it looks. And what is ours to do as we step out and serve and take action is to root ourselves in that knowing. Because as that compelling energy comes at us, we get to get our sea legs and root in our knowing of what's true. Yeah, and it's not about, what we do. Mother Teresa said it's not about really. I'm kind of doing a little improv of her quote here, but it's not about so much what we do. It's how we do it with great love, right? It's how we do it. And so, step 2, from the Bhagavad Gita, the Hindu sacred text, Lord Krishna says to his friend and cousin, Arjuna, act, but do not reflect on the fruit of that act. Now, if you were here last week, you saw in that precious video, those precious people, that man giving in kindness, and there was a ripple effect. But you notice he didn't give going, okay, I'm going to give this because I know it's going to come back to me. Maybe he had that knowing, but that wasn't the sole motivation of his giving. He gave from his huge heart of love. And so I think what the Bhagavad Gita is trying to say to us here is that we don't give because I know it's going to come back to me. I really want to be prosperous, so I'm going to give. We give and we let it go. Because by golly, have you ever given something and you feel like it kind of lands like a sack of bricks? It's like, that did not land the way I thought it was going to. If it's a gift or maybe just a loving gesture or something. Yeah, I see you nodding your head. And then we can feel like, well, I'm never doing that again. Oh, wait. No, it's not about that. I think what the message is that when we give, we serve from our knowing and we give from our heart of love, knowing that there's only oneness, that there's only love, that's enough. Can that be enough? And to trust that there is a ripple effect going, because how can it not? Because remember, if we remember, we're all one in this. We're all one in this pea soup. I just made soup last night. See that? And when I put a seasoning in, it affects the whole pot, right? That's how it works with service. It can't not impact the whole pot soup. You can count on that. You can ground in that knowing of that. And Mother Teresa shared this in response to giving our love as we serve. She said, the success of love is in the loving. It is not in the result of loving. Of course, it is natural to love, to want the best for the other person. But whether it turns out that way or not does not determine the value of what we have done. Yeah. So I just want to encourage us that as we lay the foundation for doing what is ours to do from the truth of what we are, and from that we know that we are not perpetuating the appearance of the separation, that we are being the oneness. Folks, I tell you, I am so passionate about oneness because it's the ultimate healer. Every single appearance out there is rooted in the belief in separation. You know that if every single person could hear the message of their divine love and that we're one and really get it, do you think that we'd be having the experiences we're having in our world? Truly. So that's why if you see me up here with my pom-poms, oneness. And why I get passionate about our oneness language and things like that, it's only because I really know that oneness is the ultimate healer. When we get that there's no separation between me and whatever. See? So when we can serve from that knowing, I'm just excited about what is to be and also letting go of that attachment, right? All right, so this week, I just invite you to just sit with this a little bit in your quiet time. What is motivating me right now to do what's mine to do? And if you're not clear what's yours to do, I truly want to encourage you to come to the discernment session on the 28th. It's a great little process. You just go into your own discernment and ask, what is mine to do? And just to check in. And just with the two ideas of truth that love is and oneness is. And how does that register with you? Just to do some reflection with that. So thank you for hearing me this morning. Thank you for all that you do in your service from knowing the truth and beauty that you are and the truth and beauty of every single person. So let's affirm together. I serve from my knowing of what is true about the nature of me, others, life, and the world. I serve for the joy of serving, and so it is.